Hey, everybody.
Welcome back to our podcast where we agree
To disagree
on a lot of different things.
Today we're going to be talking about life after the Olympics, and of course we also want to hear Jonas's side of the story because he has a story to tell too, because he lived through it. Even though he wasn't part of the Olympics, he still is part of life now and what we're doing after life after the Olympics. So you ready to get started, I guess?
Yeah, so let's start from the beginning. So just give everyone a brief history of how you made Team USA and made it to the Olympics. Just summarize your whole journey getting there just real quick.
Okay. So, again, I was alternate 2016 Olympics. I was fourth in the all-around, but they took sixth and seventh, they took seventh and eighth and replaced fourth and fifth. So I got put as a first alternate, so super devastating. Went to Rio but didn't compete. And then once we got home from Rio, I decided I don't really want to do this elite thing anymore. I want to go live my dream in college gymnastics. So pursued my dreams and went to the University of Utah on a full ride scholarship and competed on their gymnastics team for 3 years. Freshman year, fell in love with it, said I'm never doing elite gymnastics ever again. This is where I'm supposed to be. And my junior year came around, and little did we know I would be deciding to go back for 2020. But after much thought, I made the big decision to hold off on college my senior year and go do the 2020 Olympics. So went back to Arizona to train. It was a crazy year. Tons of things happened. You can go back and listen to some of our podcasts where we have talked about it. And Olympics got postponed because of COVID. So it ended up being 2021. So it was a big decision because I was like, do I stay? Do I go back to college? Just because I didn't know what was going to happen with COVID. And then like my senior year, I was like, do I push this back another year? And so ended up staying, made the Olympic team, except with this Olympics, it was a 4-man team, 2 event specialist spot. I originally came back to train for the 4-man team. Just because the Olympic coach had told me that Jade was going in to try to win a spot for floor and vault for the individual spot. So he was like, we'll have to take someone for bars and beam because I specialize in floor and vault. So he's like, we want you for the all-around. And then at Olympic trials, I got put as an event specialist with Jade. So even though we were both good at floor and vault, we both got put in as event specialist. And then there was the 4-man team. And yeah, the Olympics was pretty crazy journey. So many things happened, so many ups and downs, but I was able to compete one last time, even though I thought I was going to be flying home. Got put in because Simone got the twisties and no longer could compete or try vault. So she gave me the opportunity to be able to go in and win a silver medal in vault. So I hope that was a good, short enough story because I tend to talk a lot. So I hope that was good enough.
No, that was good. Yeah, that was awesome.
Okay.
And then my perspective on all that, I met Mykayla when it was your sophomore year, my freshman year at college. And we started dating after like a few months. And it was pretty soon, like after we met, I feel like I noticed pretty quick people started bringing up the next Olympics because we met in 2017. And so then it was like at the end of the year. So like 2018, we were only 2 years away from the Olympics. And I feel like that's when people kind of started to ask you. And like people would ask me to ask you. And I'm like, I don't want to ask you. You know, like
I know. And I'm like, I don't know.
Or
it's
like,
too early to tell.
And then, so we kept dating. And then 2019, that was when it was kind of real because it was only 1 year away. And so I knew you a lot better by then. We've been dating for a while and I could kind of see.
Yeah, but did you think I was going to go back? Because like, I didn't really know for sure for myself.
I knew for sure you were going to go back just because I knew you well enough at that point. I knew that because when people would ask you, you'd say, don't want to talk about it, don't want to think about it. Like just want to focus on season. I'll figure it out after season. Yeah. But I knew just because I knew you well enough, I knew that you were going to.
Well, and Tom and Megan, the coaches at Utah, really like wanted to know because they got to know for recruiting purposes or to find someone else for when I'm gone. And it was starting to put a lot of pressure on me. And I think they could kind of tell that it was like kind of messing with my head. And so they finally were just like, hey, let's wait till after NCAA nationals. If we make it there, you know, like then you can tell us your decision. We don't want to like put any more pressure on you because we already know that it's stressful. And so that was like really hard too, because I was like, I don't freaking know. Like, I just need to finish season and then see how I feel.
Yeah,
you know, because
everyone wanted to know.
It was like the talk. Every interview, it was like I was being asked that. And then it was like
every interview all over social media, like your coaches, like your friends, like everyone.
And then it was funny because Jonas's mom, I know we mentioned this, I think, in the one podcast, or one episode, but Jonas's mom was like, yeah, you should go back and do the Olympics. Like, you've already been doing some of your, like, elite skills and your college routines. Like, you'll be fine. And I'm like, no. That doesn't even compare. Like, yeah, I was doing way harder stuff than most people in college, but, like, it still didn't even compare to, like, my elite routines and all the training that goes into it. And Jonas, like, he got to experience that whole side of it, but, like, I have to say it wasn't even as bad as when I did elite before, when I was training, like, 7 hours a day and I was in high school, and I felt like I traveled way, way more because we had so many more camps. And then it was just like when I came back, you know, the whole era was different. Marta was gone. There's a new Olympic coach. Camps were weird. You know, it was just so different. So, like, I feel like you really still didn't get, like, a full taste of it, but you did. But not – Marta era was way worse. So, he didn't really get that side of it, but it was still a lot to take in. But
yeah, it was a lot. So, I mean, anyways,
no one really understood.
I kind of knew you were going to go back, and then you made the decision, and then I left for California for work. You left for Arizona to train, and, you know, I just heard from you how hard it was. Then we ended up getting married, and then I saw firsthand, you know, life was pretty rough, just a whole lot of training, your body kind of hurt, and then everyone knows what happened. You had, you know, your bone spur and
COVID, pneumonia,
and other issues, and so, yeah, and then the whole postponement a year, and yeah, it was kind of a wild time.
Well, and then it was just, like, hard because, like, I had so much drive when I came back, and, like, I, like, killed it. Like, I had 3 months to get my routines ready. I competed at classics, went to championships, like, all in 3 months of being back, made the national team, got 4th at World Selection Camp, made the World's team. Like, no one's ever done that. And so it's just, like, and to go from college into that, I've been the first to ever do anything like that. And so it was just like to be able to, like, make all that, especially as fast as I did. Like, I know Brenna Dow came back and she had made worlds and stuff, but, like, she also had a lot more time than I did. And then to even, like, go through what we went through and to make the Olympic team, like, I don't think anyone's ever done that from college. So anyways, just so crazy. And I just had that drive to, like, I can do this. I have, you know, about a year, not even a year, to get ready for the Olympics. And I was like, it's like on a freaking streak, man. Like, I was going hard. I was doing so well. And then it was just like, once COVID happened, oh my gosh, like, the drive wasn't there anymore. I hated my life. Like, because elite gymnastics is hard, right? And to have to do it for a whole nother year when you were thinking, like, oh, I'm just going to do this for kind of a year and then go back to college, finish my senior year. Because, like, I deferred my freshman year of college to do 2016 Olympics. And then, so that was like, it all ended up being 3 years of deferment, and that's all you can do. And so I was just like, I'm getting too old for this. And I was like, I don't think I even want to do college gymnastics anymore, which was so sad because, like, I didn't get to have, like, that senior year experience, you know, and, like, never would have thought my junior year it was going to be over. So, like, the whole thing was kind of crazy. But, yeah, the motivation, I had nothing. Like, it was just, like, I don't even know how I ended up pulling it together in the end. Like, it just seems like a blur to me. I'm like, I don't know how I did that. Because you probably wanted to kill yourself. You were probably ripping your hair out. You hated me. I was so grumpy. I was pissy. I was crying. I hated my life. I'm like,
I was fine.
This is so hard. But I just, like, you know, had to change my mindset and attitude and just ended up taking it one day at a time. And I guess I just figured it out because I've been through so many trials and so many situations that it just hasn't stopped me before. And somehow I just, like, dig down deep and I find a way to do it. But dang, was it freaking hard. Then it was annoying because I was learning all those new skills and working so hard. And then I freaking get COVID, pneumonia, my bone spur. And then I didn't even get to compete half the stuff I freaking worked so hard on. So frustrating, but hey, I got to go to the Olympics, so can't complain. Anyway, sorry, I interrupted Jonas.
So this episode is about life after the Olympics. So that was a long backstory. And then basically at the Olympics, it was kind of bittersweet just because I couldn't go, but I could watch. And then after the Olympics, it was we both flew home to Arizona. We turned around like the same day, went to Orlando because the U.S. Olympic Committee was throwing that. There was like that get together for families of the Olympians. That was a really cool experience. That was lots of fun. And then we fly back to Arizona, pack up, and move to Utah. And then as soon as we get to Utah, you go on
crazy.
tour. So it was like,
boom, didn't even get to say bye to anybody, spend any time in Arizona. It was just like packing up, peace out, bye.
So I know it took some time to process, but how'd you feel after the Olympics? Were you excited? Were you tired? Had you been waiting to retire? Did you want to do it again?
No. It's so weird because for how competitive, aggressive, I want to win, I don't ever want to lose. There's still a part of me that hated gymnastics. But there's still that part of me that loved gymnastics. So it was it's so weird to me because I don't know, even when I was doing college gymnastics, I'm I'm so ready to retire and be done. And then it was then I decided to go for the Olympics. And then I was like, what am I doing? This is so hard, but I was doing so good and I had the drive. But I'm wow, I knew it was going to be hard, but I just kind of had forgotten how hard it was because college was so easy. And then I don't know. I was ready to be done. I don't know. Even doing the Olympics, I was
you were definitely ready to be done.
Ready to be done.
And then what about, immediately after, what about a few months after?
No, I was so good with life, but tour.
Did anything change?
No, I don't even go into a gym and play.
So has anything changed since then? So from the moment you finished, you were so happy to be done. A few months after that, you were still happy to be done. Now it's been a year and a half.
Still happy.
Well, that's good. That's
still
consistency.
Happy as can be. It's just weird. Sometimes when I watch videos or when it had been a year from the Olympics, you guys saw my story. I talked about it and cried because it it's sad. Oh my gosh, I did all that and then it's just done. But I don't have regrets. I don't need to go and do the Olympics again. If I would have competed in the Olympics the first time, I don't think I would have gone back the second time. I don't need to go and redeem. I don't know. I'm just now that I made it, that was my goal and my dream and I did it and I was able to live it to the fullest and I was just ready for that next chapter of life. I don't know if that's just from growing up being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and we're taught, to be wives, to get married and to have children and having lots of nieces and nephews. That's just something I always wanted. So I was just ready for that next step in life to be a mom and to grow and see what's next in life. Gymnastics isn't everything and growing up, that's all you learn. And I know there are so many athletes that have gone on podcasts and were they don't teach you anything after gymnastics. So when you just quit, I'm so depressed. I don't know how to handle life and start a job. And, they don't teach you that. You just, all you know is gymnastics. And I'm that's true, but you grow up at some point. It's before you go to college, college, your freshman year is rough. It's hard. You're learning the ropes, you're adjusting. It's way different. And you're with new girls and new coaches. And it's no one really teaches you then either. You kind of just get thrown into it and you just learn, and that's just life after gymnastics. You just get thrown into it, but you learn, you grow, you become an adult, it's
Did you ever feel like you had to find a new purpose now that the Olympics was over?
Jonas wants me to have a job, but other than that, no, I feel
Well, did you feel like it though? Because your whole life you were aiming for one goal, then you get home. Did you ever feel
No,
you're just happy you didn't have a huge goal, I guess.
Yeah, the nice thing is I kind of worked out a little bit. I took a step class and did that a little bit, but didn't fully work out. And then I felt like I was kind of getting chubby. And so I'm okay, I think it's time to start working out again. So then I started Burn and was doing that whole thing. And I love that. So I feel that kind of helped me find something to do. Because after a while, I was kind of getting I was kind of getting bored. And like, it's not like we could go on vacation all the time. Like we did do a couple things, but then I was still in school and I was just busy with stuff. So I feel like my mind didn't really have time to like think much of anything, you know? And then like I kind of thought of having a job. And then I'm like, well, if I have a job, like, because I travel and like do public speaking and I do appearances and I'm still kind of involved in like gymnastics stuff and summer camps and this and that. And then I'm like, well, if I have a normal job, I can't really just like get up and leave and go do that if I need to travel somewhere. So I'm like, yeah, I don't really think I could have a normal job right now. So I don't know, but I think I've been doing good. Like I think like I haven't been depressed at all. I think like for me, like being married and stuff, I mean, I did live at home for a little bit after college. You know, I was home for like 3 months before we got married. So I did have to go back home a little bit, and that was weird after college. But then, like, I don't know, I feel like my transition was just easy because we got married, and it's not like I had to go, like, live on my own and pay my own bills.
And I think we've mentioned this before, but I think for you, you really didn't have a crisis until you finished school because it was go
so
for
busy.
the Olympics, and then it was boom, go on tour, then it was boom, school, and then school was nonstop, and then you graduated school, and that was, you know, not too long ago, and then that's when you were like, now what do I do with my life? You know, because you graduated school, you know, like didn't really know what you wanted to do next. I think it wasn't until then. But did you feel like you were in an Olympics bubble, like right afterwards? Like, were you doing lots of appearances?
So this was my thing on it. Like, it was so weird. And I like, have talked to, like, Jonas about it, my mom, you know, like, it's so weird because, like, I always remember, like, after the Olympics, like, the girls would go off and be, like, in the ESPYs and, like, the whole Olympic team would go off and, like, they'd go to all these appearances and do all these things, like, after the Olympics. And, like, none of us have done that. And I don't know if it's just, like, a COVID thing or, like, what it was, but, like, none of us have done anything together. Like, the only thing we were, like, together on was tour. But, like, they had the Kellogg's tour after the last Olympics, but they still did all their appearances and did all these cool things. And it, like, really made me sad because I was like, that's, like, the best part, like, getting to have some rewards after all that hard work and, like, accomplishing, you know, like, your dreams ever, like, since I was a little girl, that was, like, my biggest dream was to make the Olympics, but then to be able to go and celebrate and, like, get to go show off and be known. And then I was like, well, is it because we didn't, like, Team USA didn't win, like, the gold at the Olympics? You know, we took silver, but then, like, everyone's story was so unique and so cool, and, like, we all ended up going home with a medal. So I'm like, our story's still amazing, but it's just, like, we didn't do, like, anything. So I feel like not really. Because then, like, most of us, too, like, all the girls went to college besides Simone, and then I still went for school. I didn't go for gym, but it's, like, everyone just went their separate ways, and all of a sudden it was just, like, boom, you know? I don't know. So it's, like,
yeah,
I don't feel like I was ever, like, in an Olympic bubble. I feel like it just kind of, like, ended. Like, we went to the Olympics, COVID kind of ruined it, and it was just, like, we're over. Like, it's whatever, Olympics, whatever. I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. Like, I feel like it just wasn't like most Olympics and wasn't as rememberable because it was like no fans got to be there. Like, sometimes when I really think about it, it just makes me really sad because, yeah, we were so grateful we got to go to the Olympics, but, you know, growing up and watching it on TV and then, like, being there in Rio and seeing everyone's family in the crowd and flags going up for cheering for your team and, like, that whole, we didn't get to have that. And so it's like it didn't even seem like we had the Olympics. Like, Olympic trials felt more real to me than the Olympics. Like, when I try to picture the Olympics, it just, like, it's weird. It felt like a normal practice. It was not like Olympic trials. We had like 18,000 fans or whatever it was, 18,000 plus fans, maybe 20,000. And it was just so cool, like, competing and, like, you know, I was out there and the crowd was going with me and it was just, like, so unreal. And so it's like, yeah, I just feel like I've never had that, like, Olympic bubble.
Yeah, that's too
bad. It's, like,
bad.
really sad to say, but, like, we just didn't get the full experience. Man, my life's just been hard. Like, gymnastics, it's just never been fair for me. I've had to go through so much crap and so much politics and so much hate, and to be able to push through it, fight through it, and not let it stop me from achieving my one end goal, you know, and
hey, you got the medal.
I got the medal and I proved a lot of people wrong and got to let people see the real me and know the real me and did the whole YouTube channel and, you know, wanted to show people that I wasn't going to stop, I wasn't going to quit, you know, and to let people see the real raw stuff that goes behind it. And I think totally changes people's perspectives, but it just sucks because, you know, being so close in 2016 and then going and seeing the girls get to live that, and then you thought your Olympic dream was over, and then you come back to it and you're like, okay, so if I make the team, like I'm married, so my husband gets to be there. Like, how cool is that? That my husband gets to watch me in the Olympics, and like my family, and then that doesn't happen and we don't get to stay in the village. So I don't know. When I really think about it, it kind of makes me sad. Like in the moment, I didn't really think much of it. I'm just like, oh, I'm so grateful we still get to go, you know, because like we were just living in the times and that's just how it was. So it was kind of like, oh, whatever. But now I'm just like, man, like, sucks. This podcast is brought to you by OathCare, a new model of healthcare rooted in community to improve the health of all families.
OathCare provides complete support for mothers experiencing the fertility, pregnancy, and pediatric journey. Oath gives you direct access to maternal and child health specialists paired with a support system of fellow mothers. Oath matches you with your own care team, a stage-based specialist, mental health therapist, and trained parent guide to answer any and all questions 7 days a week, all within one chat. Oath has ancillary care specialists such as sleep and lactation consultants, pelvic floor therapists, and specialists in nutrition, exercise, speech, and early childhood development that are tagged into your chat to specifically answer your questions, and they host weekly calls so that you can receive medical expertise that is paired with wisdom from the other Oath members on the call. Additionally, they have 4 stage-based communities as the initial way for moms to connect in the Oath app outside of their intimate Oath Care team chat.
Join OathCare for a stress-free community to connect with fellow parents, moderated by the experts of Credible Support and Solutions. We provide judgment-free support and personalized guidance for motherhood. Expert-moderated communities provide built-in and humanized fact-checking to ensure parents are receiving the most up-to-date, evidence-based advice.
The community feature is free and always will be, and they have 4 stage-based communities where parents can ask questions and support each other through pregnancy, postpartum, infant, toddler, and young child. The support grows with you. You can find your own virtual village, and it's moderated by experts.
So 1, personalized guidance. Oath matches you with your own care team, a stage-based specialist, mental health therapist, and trained parent guide to answer any and all questions 7 days a week, all within one chat, which is incredible. Oath has ancillary care specialists such as sleep and lactation consultants, pelvic floor therapists, and specialists in nutrition, exercise, speech, and early childhood development that are tagged into your chat to specifically answer your questions, and they host weekly calls so that you can receive medical expertise that is paired with wisdom from the other Oath members on the call.
For more information, you can check out the website oathcare.com or download the OathCare app directly from the Apple App Store or Google Play at the link in our bio. Yeah, a lot of people said too, which was weird, like, oh, I usually always watch the Olympics, but I didn't really watch this one. You know,
I know, and you would think with like COVID, you would be watching because like nothing's been going on, you know, and like things have been canceled. But then again, like, here I go, always talking about social media. I think it just goes back to social media, and people are just lazy now, and they like, I just feel like people don't care as much about sports. Like little kids, like I go to all these gymnastics things, and like the little kids don't even know what the Olympics was, and I'm like, I knew what the Olympics was. Like, how do you not know? I'm like, they don't know who we are. And I'm like, that's just sad. Like, they're all just attached to phones, technology, TikTok, social media. It just makes me sad. I'm like, what has the world come to? Like, I know sports aren't everything. Not everyone's about sports. But, like, I don't know. It's just kind of like, yeah, I've kind of said that too. Like, for me to go to the Olympics, I figure it's just like a sucky time. Like, no one really cares anymore. It's just weird. I don't know. Just kind of sad.
You did some appearances like on your own. You still kind of do afterwards, but it was also, I mean, you were in a weird spot because you were kind of like in between agents at the time, and like you wanted to write a book, which we are working on, but that's kind of
got set back because a big mess happened.
It's fallen through a few times, and like, and there was just so many other things you wanted to do, but also you were tired, and so like, because I remember you'd have opportunities like, hey, this company wants to work with you, or like do this appearance and whatnot, and you were just like, no, I just don't really want to do anything, you know.
Or the show that Nastia was on, they kind of had asked me to do it.
Yeah, but you didn't want to do it.
I didn't want to do it because we were going to Hawaii, so I'd literally have to go to Hawaii, fly straight from Hawaii, go to that freaking boot camp thing in some freaking other country, and like quarantine for like 2 weeks, and then do this. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to go to Hawaii stressing the whole time and feeling sick to my stomach. And like, then they ended up not being able to use me because someone was going to drop out. So then I was going to be able to go in, but then they ended up, I think, doing it. But, yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't do that. It looked really awful.
Yeah, probably all for the best.
Probably all for the best.
I mean,
but there's been things like that that I just kind of have said no to. I also just hate traveling. I hate being away from Jonas. I hate being by myself. It's just like, I don't know. I think being a girl, I just get scared to go anywhere. So I have a hard time. Like, I'm always like, okay, if Jonas can come or if Jonas can be there, you know, it's more easy for me to want to do it. But
so when you were done, was it hard to have structure to your day without your normal schedule, your normal training?
Yeah. I just became really lazy. I became a couch potato. You know I became a couch potato because you get mad at me. You're so lazy. You just sit there and watch TV, and I'm just like, this is so nice. I just sit here. No one tell me what to do. I don't have to push myself and cry to make that routine when I'm struggling. Like,
so
I don't know.
It's just funny because the next question I had for you is, did you ever just want to sleep and relax all day, every day after spending so much of your life?
Literally, I had no motivation. I'm like, whoa. I already feel like I'm kind of lazy as it is, but like, you know, having coaches down your throat and like you have a reason that you have to be somewhere, and like, I'm going to be there on time. I'm going to show up. I'm going to be there. And then it was like not having to have that. I'm like, whoa, like, this is awesome. Like, I just didn't do anything. I'm like, literally, if I could just sit here and stare at the wall for weeks, I would be okay with it. Even if it's just staring at the wall, not even watching TV, but just sitting here, like, not having anything to do. I'm like, wow, this is the best feeling ever.
That's so funny.
Just weird. So I guess that answers the question.
Yeah. Did this stage ever lead to arguments between us?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jonas is very productive, hardworking, works out like 3 times a day. And since he's known me, like, I would have to go to bed early. He would get mad because, like, I wouldn't want to stay up and, like, hang out when we were in college. And I was a great athlete. I worked hard. And I think it was really hard for him to see me not be motivated because you're so motivated and driven. So, like, I think you're really struggling with it.
I think it was harder for me to transition to life after the Olympics than it was for you, because you were just like, oh, this is great. I'm retired. I'm just not doing anything. And for me, it was like all of a sudden there was a new person that I'm married to. And it was like, it was just weird because I'm used to, you know, you work really hard. You had your routine, like you do your things. We'd both, you know, be working and like, and then I'd wake up, work out, you're still asleep. I'd eat breakfast, you're still asleep. I'd go to work, and then you'd call me at like 12 to like bug me. And then I'd come home and you're just...
I like to talk on the phone a lot, and when I get bored, I call Jonas like 50 times at work, and he hates it, but I just miss him so much.
And then I'd come home and you're just watching TV, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, what have you been... And then you'll ask me to do something for you.
I know, and like the laundry hasn't been done, the table's a mess. But then even when I go and clean it and watch, you'd still get mad at me. Like, at least if you clean the messes, and then I'll spend a day where, like, I do, like, an 8-hour deep clean of the whole house, and then, like, somehow you still find a reason to get mad at me for watching TV. It's so funny.
Well, it's just something, like, I don't know. When I'm, like, if I've had, like, a long day and I come home.
I mean, I totally get it.
But it's also, it's not just you watching TV. Like, that's fine. Like, I'll watch TV. But it's like, I'll come home, you're watching TV, and you do this thing where you'll ask me to do something. I know. Right? See, I know. And I know.
I totally get it.
Because you'll be sitting there and you're like, hey, can you grab me this?
And I know what it's like, because when I was 8 years old or 5 years old and then went to high school and was doing all those hours of gymnastics, I never got to relax. I never got to have time to do my homework and not stress about it like most other people do. I know other people were athletes, but not like a gymnast, and not missing as much school and training as many hours. And you got to have a childhood and I didn't. So like looking at it now, it looks pretty pathetic, especially like being an adult and being lazy. But like I didn't get to have a childhood. Like you got to hang out with friends. If you wanted to have a day where you could just sit at home and like chill that night and do your homework and then go to school the next day, you could. I never had that. So it's like now it's like I just want that. And I would be jealous of my friends. I would be jealous of my parents even. Like they just get to sit at home all day while I, go work my butt off in the gym, like there was times where I would have my feelings hurt and like couldn't understand it. But now it's like the same thing with you. You just don't get it. But it's like I had to have that drive and that work ethic for a long, long time. And, like, you did sports and stuff, but I'm just saying it's not like it was for me. And you just, like, don't understand. Like, I had to do that at a very young age.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like now that I'm older, even though I should be working because I'm older, but it's like I worked that whole time. So now it's just, like, my time to have that break, Mm-hmm. But it's hard for you because you got that break and now it's your go time to work hard. But it's like I had that since I was 5 years old. So it's like...
What about like training, dieting, working out? Was it hard for you to stay motivated to do all that stuff after the Olympics? And you've kind of already mentioned this, but that was the funny thing. To your credit, though, it was like you only took, I don't know, you took like 4 or 6 months off where you didn't really do anything. And then I remember one day you're like, all right, I need to start working out again. Mm-hmm. And then
that was hard.
And you did, and you're in great shape again. And you didn't get chubby or anything.
I was chubby.
No, you weren't chubby.
Yeah, we even look back at pictures. We should send them pictures and have them pull it up when we went on that hike. Like, in the moment, I didn't feel
it was just a bad angle.
I didn't, like, feel chubby. No, I was chubby. It's fine. I didn't feel chubby. And it's not that I'm chubby. It's just, like, compared to what I was, and then you look at that, it, like, makes me look chubby. Like, you're just kind of like, what? Like, that is not you. And I'm like, that is not me. That is not, like... My arms are kind of puffier. My muscles, like, not as defined. It's just kind of like bleh. And my, like, legs were a little bit thicker.
I mean, it's hard because you'll never be in as good shape as when you were training for the Olympics because you were, like, shredded.
Right.
You had huge muscles. So it's, like, it's hard to...
Huge muscles. I went gluten-free. I cared a little bit more about what I ate during the Olympics. Like, at the Olympics, I was, like, my prime. Like, college, I still looked really good, but I think some people thought I was, like, anorexic when I went into like back into elite, but I think like training more hours, but then also just really caring about what I ate and went gluten free, it really defined my muscles and my body. So I just looked really lean, but I was eating, I promise. I love food.
Do you feel like I helped at all as you were going through changes in training and dieting?
Yes and no. I mean, for like the long run, yes. Like, and I think a lot of people noticed that. And a lot of people could see that, but it was frustrating when, like, I had a really bad day and, like, you just couldn't understand, because you're always so positive and, like, you just, like, sometimes I just couldn't vent because, men, they don't like to listen to you vent and talk about how bad my day was. He's like, just be positive and then, try to have a better day tomorrow. So there are, like, times where obviously it got hard and, like, you annoyed me, but, like, for the long run, like, you were supportive and you did help me get through it. And I think it was just hard on the both of us because, like, we just had to adjust. And it was, like, our first year of marriage, too. So it was, like, hard in COVID. And we went through, like, a lot our first year of marriage. But overall, like, I think I was the best ever because of you.
Well, that's nice. What?
That's nice.
That's really nice of you to say, yeah. I mean, I know I could have done better, but...
I mean, you did do a lot, but there are times where, like, you definitely pissed me off, but that's just normal.
Yeah, that's probably just called being married. Did it ever feel like you had too much free time after retirement? And then what do you do with that free time even now? I mean, I think we kind of know the answer. I mean, you already mentioned it.
Like,
you enjoyed having free time because it was, like, kind of a new thing for you. And what do you do with free time now? I mean, you like to go shopping. like
hang out with friends. It's been hard because it's like a winter.
Yeah.
So we should have made a YouTube video. Maybe we still can or post something. But I went snowboarding for the first time. I don't know if I've really talked about it because I didn't really post on my Instagram because I thought we were going to do a YouTube video. And then Jonas is like, I don't know if we have enough footage just because Jonas couldn't end up going with us that day because he had a work thing. And so, like, he wanted to get Bob. My coach Bob was in town. So he wanted to be able to get Bob coaching me, like, in a video instead of just Bob, like, talking through the camera and videoing me. But I did go snowboarding for the first time and did really, really good. And I was able to go, like, right off the ski lift, like, natural. Like, I never fell down or got stuck in between the ski lift and coming off. And I caught on to it really quickly and ended up going down, what was it, a blue? Mm-hmm. Down a blue, even though we thought it was just a green from the kiddie hill. But then we didn't know where we were going, so we went from the bottom of the slope all the way up to the top in the little, what's that thing that carries you?
Ski lift?
No, it's like a little...
The gondola?
I don't know, something that carries you to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, it's a ski lift.
Isn't the ski lift what you sit in, though?
Yes, that carries you up the mountain.
No, it was like we went into a box automatic thing.
Oh, the gondola.
Sure. Anyway, we went into that, and it carried us all the way to the freaking tippy top of the mountain. And if you went down the wrong thing, you were going down, like, Black Diamond. And so Bob was like, we're obviously not in the right spot, but we're going to find a way down. And it was so terrifying. But then once we started going down the big, like, puffy snow parts, I just was going. And it was, like, crazy. But I was super sore, and it was horrible. But that was, like, I was kind of like, okay, maybe I could do snowboarding. Because I never thought I was going to try it because I hate the cold. And actually did really well. And it was a really good day. And the weather was good. So I enjoyed it. So we thought that would become a new hobby. But I've only gone the one time. But Jonas has gotten into it now. So Jonas has been doing that a lot. I have not. But that was really fun. Did something new. I don't know.
A few more questions.
I know, but I just feel like I don't really do much. Why are you looking at me like that?
But
You're like,
I don't know. I agree. I guess
like,
it's not like it's a good or bad thing.
I know, but I just like we haven't even gone on a vacation, and I want to go so bad. But me and my sister did get Taylor Swift tickets, so we're gonna be seeing Taylor Swift. Thank goodness we got those, so I'm excited for that.
So, how is your mental health after the Olympics? Do you feel like overall, are you happier now? Do you feel like your mind can finally relax? Is it better for your mental health to not be in gymnastics anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I remember, like, I told you it's weird, like, after the first little bit of coming home from, like, tour and stuff, I'm like, this is so weird. Because even tour was stressful and traveling a lot and being with girls for, you know, weeks on weeks, and it was just, that was still a lot, and we were tired, and, but I remember, like, right when we started coming home and I, you know, started to adjusting to normal life, I was like, wow, this is weird. Like, my whole life, I feel like I've had a constant headache, and I'm just constantly stressed because I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I want to win, and I'm competitive, and I work really hard, and I just, like, constantly, like, I think, like, when I came back to gymnastics, since I wasn't in school and stuff, I'd sleep until, like, 10 o'clock. And I told Jonas the reason why I'd kept sleeping until, like, the last minute till I had to get up is because it would help me not think about the day or think about, like, what I'm going to be going through at practice that day or what my assignment's going to be and having to get through it until I get back home. And it was just, like, all I wanted to do was sleep because it helped my mind not think of things. And it was weird, like, coming home and not having to feel that way anymore. Like, I didn't have the stress, the anxiety. I'm like, whoa, it's so weird waking up and not worrying about the day and worrying about what I'm going to be going through and just, like, wanting to puke my guts out and, like, all that stress just from, like, traveling. Like, it's weird even traveling because whenever I would travel mostly, it'd be, like, going to a meet or going to camp and just, like, getting on the plane and feeling sick and, like, I don't know how this meet's going to turn out. And the next time I'm on the plane, I'm going to know how I did. And then I'll be judging myself and thinking of what I need to do better and what's going to come next and what can I improve on. And, or, you know, I'm sitting there like, that was a great meet. We can move on to the next, you know? And so it's like weird flying and not having stress and like not worrying about what time I go to bed and just, I don't know, all the things. And like, it's weird. Like I was like, wow, my brain's like calm. Like I think my brain was just constantly like, and I was like constantly like, and stressed and because especially in college, you compete like freaking 16 times, like every freaking weekend. And it was just like every day, like you're just preparing for that meet and going to practice and you're stressed with school. And oh man, it was like anxiety on like 1,000. Wow. So yeah, it's definitely been very nice, like not having to have that anymore. And I don't know how other athletes are, how they handle all that, but feel like I was just constantly like on a high.
Is it hard to always be known now as an Olympic athlete, or do you like it? Is it fun?
I like it. It's fun, and I feel like I'm not even always known. Like there's still a lot of people that don't know, you know.
That's true.
So still get to live like both sides of it.
Do people still come up to you in public and to say hi or ask for photos? How do you feel when they do that?
I definitely have to say it's not as much as it was the first couple months of coming home. It's definitely calmed down a bit, but I think the worst part is if I'm somewhere and someone's like following me around a store and you know they're following you, but like you're not going to say anything, but you're like, why don't you just come up and say something? So instead of like stalking me and following me, why don't you just come up, say something? I'm not scary. I'll be nice. I'll let you take a picture, whatever. Talk to me for a few minutes, and we're good to go. So I don't mind if people come up to me in public. Obviously, if it's in like a normal situation, obviously not if it's at a time where it's not meant to happen. But other than that, most of the time I'm fine with it.
I think it's cool. I always like it. I think it's really cool because a lot of, I don't know, people are starstruck meeting you, and I think it's cool. Just you get to chat with them for a little bit, get pictures, and some people are so nice. They're like, we're so sorry to bug you. When we're just like, I don't know, in City Creek or walking around, we're like, yeah, it's no big deal. We're just walking around. I think it's cool.
And it's like not every day obviously I'm not a celebrity, but like I don't think I've ever run into a celebrity. You know what I mean? So like for that, like it's just, that's got to be so cool. Like, you know, if I was them and I ran into, you know, Shawn Johnson, like before I met Shawn, like now I know Shawn. So it's like, you know, I'm not like, oh my gosh, but like if I like had never met Shawn and I never was as big into gymnastics as I was, like that would be so cool just running into her in a store. And there's nothing worse than when people are just mean and crabby and rude, you know, to their fans. I don't get that. There's just no reason for it. Obviously, I get people have bad days, but then that's when you just say, I'm so sorry, but not today, but very nice to meet you and wave. But there's just no need to be rude. I don't know. I always take the time.
I really like it when this doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes I'll be by myself. Like the other week, I was checking out.
Everybody loves Jonas more than me. I'm like, okay, I know he's hot. I know he's tall. I know everyone knows where you are and what you look like.
Can I finish my story?
Yes, but I'm just saying, everyone loves you more than me.
No, okay, that's not true. But I was checking out at CVS, just chatting with the lady that was there.
When was this? Did you tell me about this?
Yes, I told you about this. Probably like a month ago.
I remember.
Just chatting with the lady that was, you know, working the cash register, and like, as I was leaving, she's like, "You've got a super cool wife, by the way." I'm like, "Oh, like that was really cool." like, oh, thank you. Like it means a lot. Yeah. That's happened to me a few times. Where like, just like a random stranger, they're like, "By the way, your wife's really cool." I don't know. I like that. Nice. I think it's cool. Yeah. 'Cause I agree. So, last question for you.
I always ask Jonas though. I'm like, would you have ever thought in your wildest dreams that you would be married to an Olympian?
No, I thought I was going to be an Olympian.
Yeah, it's true.
That didn't happen.
I loved it for you.
Yeah, it's still pretty cool. Okay, last question. Did you ever, or do you currently, or will you ever consider training for the next Olympics?
Oh my gosh.
Why or why not?
I mean, maybe if I wasn't freaking 26, maybe.
Okay, well, you are.
I mean, I know. I'm like thinking of so many different scenarios in my head right now. I'm like, where do I want to start? Where
That's
do
a
I
big
go about
question.
this? Yeah. So it's hard because one, like, I've always felt like if you went to the Olympics and like you did pretty well or at least took home a medal, I'm like, well, you've already achieved your dream. Like, the Olympics is like the highest of the highs. There's not really much more you can do. And so like it always made me so mad when like Olympians would come back and go for another one. But then like I totally get it, and like if I was in their shoes and wanted to go again, I feel like I should have the right to do that. But like it would just make me so mad because then they would take like 2 years off, and then we would all be training for the next 4 years, you know, and then like they make the team. But then when I decided to come back, I kind of had that feeling, like feeling bad for those girls that, you know, possibly could have the spot. I'm taking a spot from them, but I feel like, you know, I've talked to some girls about it and they feel like, no, we never felt that way because, like, you know, they knew for me I'd been so gypped and robbed, and they, you know, were kind of excited that I came back. I'm sure it still hurt, but I always just felt bad kind of coming back into the scene, you know. But like for me, I never really made the Olympics. Like I never got to compete in it. So for me, like I had a reason to come back. But I also just feel like since I went to an Olympics, like I don't need to go again. Like, I don't know, just the training and the time that it takes. And then I'm kind of also like, I feel like other girls should have a chance, especially in gymnastics. Not very many people get the chance to make it. And so I'm like, I don't see the need to do it like over and over and over again. But I guess, you know, if you have the drive and that's what you want to do and you're so good at it and you can go and win all those medals and win that money, then, you know, it's still pretty freaking awesome to have that many Olympic medals. So I totally get it. But for me, I do not have really the desire to go back. But it's funny because my mom will always joke with my coach, Lisa. So, like, if Mykayla came back and just did, like, you know, floor and vault, would you take her? And Lisa's, like, always like, of course. Like, I'm always here to do it again.
Yeah, but that's not even an option for the next Olympics, right?
Yeah. So, like maybe if there was an option for me to just do 2 events, like,
or even
I'm
just
like,
one event.
Yeah, I'm like, I could maybe do that. I
can see you just doing vault again if that were ever an option.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they're taking away the individual event spot.
It is. They only did it for the one Olympics, which honestly I didn't really like it. I wish they wouldn't have done it, but
yeah, they kind of took away from the whole team thing.
Yeah, I didn't really like it, so I'm glad it's going back to the 5. But I mean, sometimes in the Olympics, like, they need people for different events, but I also don't think it's fair for someone to go for an event. So.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like, they could still take you just to get your score on vault, but then.
Yeah, but it's like. Yeah, I don't know. It's like.
You could go for Worlds and just.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, Worlds is still really cool, but it's like Olympics is cooler, and I already did that, so it's like.
Been to Worlds a bunch.
But. I mean, like I have said in the past, never say never, but frick, man. I don't think I want to go through that again. It was, like, horrible. I'm like, I don't know how these girls, like, want to keep doing it. I'm like, no, I do not want to go back through that. It's just hard.
Yeah.
So I think I'm good where I'm at. But again, never say never. You never know. Who knows? Everyone keeps telling me, well, why don't you just have a kid and then come back? I'm like, oh my gosh. But like my coach Lisa's always like, Mykayla could so come back. Like she could take however long off, and I think she could do gymnastics till she's like 30 or 40 years old. And I'm like,
honestly, you probably could because your body's pretty durable.
Yeah.
And like you haven't really had any lingering aches or pains or anything, and like
I think I mean I could totally do it.
It wouldn't be fun.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I've had enough time in it, and I've done it. I did my thing.
Yeah. It's just too much of a commitment.
It's literally gymnastics is so hard. I just really don't want to go through that again. Like now being away from it for so long. Oof. Like at least I was still doing college gymnastics, so I was still doing gymnastics. It wasn't like I just stopped, but I'm happy where I am. I'm in a good spot.
That kind of leads into our assumption for this week, which is Mykayla wants to someday compete in the Olympics again. So we pretty much just answered that.
I mean, yes, would that be freaking cool to go to Paris or LA? Frick yeah. But I'm excited to watch other girls live out their dreams and get to shine and do their thing like I did with mine. So
you should set a goal to commentate at the Olympics. That would be cool. That'd be using your sports broadcasting degree.
I know, but
that'd be a job.
But that will either be Nastia or I feel like someone else that's already working on
I don't
it.
know.
So
throw yourself in the mix. I'll vote for you.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're just going to have me do the Olympics if I'm not really doing other commentating stuff. I don't know if they'll just throw me out there, but you never know.
Never know.
You never know.
Well, that's all we got for you guys. Thanks again, as always, for tuning in. Hope you learned a little something new about our lives adjusting to life after gymnastics and the Olympics.
Jonas, it's been a breeze for you. I'm just kidding.
Breeze.
He's had so many new jobs and
yeah,
we've gone through so many different things, but I feel like for you, at least, like, you have something. I'm kind of still like, I don't know what I'm doing, but it's okay.
Yes, that's true. Anyways, thanks, guys. We'll catch you next week.
See you next week, everyone.
Bye.